Good day, everyone. This is Robert Ferguson, Barbara Kris, and Daniel Baldwin. And yes, this is the Stay Healthy Experience. And today we, like every show that we do, it's always intriguing, it's interesting, it's thought-provoking, definitely entertaining, funny because of these two people that I work with on a regular basis. Number one.
I'm telling you.
But today we have an amazing lady, and I can't wait to hear her story. I've been pulling back, not asking certain questions because I wanted to learn about Vicki Reece of Joy of Mom, the same as my partners here, Daniel and Barbara. So very excited. And thank you, Vicki, for making time for us.
Thank you. I just have to share this. I'm so used to being live that I was so nicely recording this and I didn't hit record. So I missed the whole great intro with everybody. Sorry about that. Robert, Daniel, Barbara, thank you so much for having me as a guest. I absolutely love what you're doing, and I'm just honored to be involved and help, roll up my sleeves and get these good messages out, not only to moms and moms globally, but to families, because this is the type of stuff that we all need, and now more than ever.
Absolutely. So do us a favor and kind of help us get started with you, Vicki, and give us a background, because you have this amazing Facebook presence with over 2 million women.
Wow.
There's some men in there that fell in love with the idea of joy as it's associated with mom and motherhood.
I know. I'm Barbara, total on the woo-woo. Thank you.
Hey. I'm a single dad of 2 preteen girls. I'm mom and dad, so woo-woo!
Yes. That's right. All around.
I love it. And I have to tell you guys, I talk to so many people. I can feel beside smell right away when it's genuine and real deal folks that are just speaking their truth, and that's who you guys are. And it shines through. So
at least 2 of us.
Here we go.
Robert is an island on his own, which you will find out shortly.
That's glimpses, good glimpses. So what I'll do is this is runs so deep and long, and I'm going to literally try to make it just in a few minutes. Okay. So just stop me along the way if you need to, but I'm from Chicago. I have 3 kiddos. I had 2 miscarriages, then I couldn't get pregnant. So I had my first of my 3 children, thank God. And I'm just grateful every day about being a mom. And I felt right from the beginning, like this was my service, you will, my rent for being able to have my children. And this started a long time ago. And it's wild because we're launching this massive thing with our Stay Healthy friends on April 29th, which is my son's birthday. And there's been so many monumental things. Joy of Mom was conceived on his birthday, everything. It's just wild that that's the date that everybody's schedules aligned for everything we're doing. But just to give you a little bit of history, I'm from Chicago. I worked at WGN Radio, if you remember, Cubs, Bears, the whole WGN, powerhouse back in the days. I was 22. I think I looked like I was 12. And I was there for about 8 years. Then I had an ad agency. And what happened is I was so tuned in to the messages in the media that were negative, that were a lot of violent stuff going on. This was back in the day of Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, a lot of disc jockeys just saying a lot of things about how to, put a bomb in your mom's car. I remember hearing that and it was like, what's going on here? It's hard to even fathom. And this is before we know what effects those have. So bottom line, I ended up from 11 at night till 2, 3 in the morning, creating these really great multimedia products with no tools, no money, no know-how, but just enough naivete to not know I couldn't do it. And that calling, that blind faith of there's got to be something it was in between education and entertainment. It was educational. And I grew up on Jubilee Showcase. I love, soulful music. And anyway, I made these products, didn't have a cent for marketing or advertising, and wanted to put them in like the different distribution channels, one specialty retailer, one mass market, one computer bundle. So, Walmart, Zany Brady, Noodle Cadoodle, Gateway Computers, Discovery Toys. They ended up being the #1 seller everywhere they went, from moms telling moms who told their friends who told their friends. And moms wanted to join my club. I didn't have one. They wanted me to distribute their products. It didn't strike a nerve, or it didn't strike a chord, it struck a nerve. So I felt, and I loved, it was called Kids Count Entertainment. We're actually like reviving it now, if you will. And it was viral before there was such a thing as viral, if you will. And I ended up, this was then social media was all getting on the rise. I wasn't in that early. I started Joy of Mom in 2010, although somebody early on at Facebook who wanted not to go by his name, but go by his employee number. That's what he wanted everybody to call him. It was a short-lived thing. I met a lot of interesting people along the way. But anyway, the bottom line, there were some business folks around me, and they were like, what should she do next if she wasn't in the room? And I feel like yesterday, I can't even express, I just knew and felt this something calling much bigger than oneself, that if I can help a mom get through what she's getting through at that time, because there's such a pervasive problem of moms feeling so isolated and alone. I literally flipped over a laundry basket in my bedroom one evening. I made that like a makeshift desk. And I'm not an artist. I don't work in any art programs, but I had messages pouring through me. And I made my first one, figured out I created content, 10,000 pieces of content later. Believe it or not, I did it in Pages. People thought I was using like all these art programs, and they thought I had a staff. And again, it struck a nerve, and people felt that, something much higher was flowing through me, talking to them. I remember it was 2:30 in the morning. I went from 52 friends to 53 friends, and I'm doing the happy dance in my bathroom thinking, I need a life. But you know how sometimes it's when John says too, there's passion, but then there's commitment. And this was, the road has been anything but easy. Because, I've been all about the power of moms, and I'm not a typical influencer by any means. I get asked, probably on average 15 times a day for my skincare. What do I drink? What do I eat? What I this, what I that. It's not about me. It's about we. I never even had my picture up on Joy of Mom. So until I started doing live streaming, which was like 5 years ago, people are like, oh my God, you're the one responding back to me at 3 a.m. This is before there was a scheduler, making all this content and doing this. And I thought, my husband was saying, because we've always been invited into early adopter things in Facebook, and I frankly didn't know what to do with them. And some folks that we, had work or consult or help were like, we don't know what to do. It was more like artists or pages that got invited into things. So when I was invited into mentions that became live streams, I remember saying to my husband, who cares about my life? Like, I'm not, chasing after my kids. I'm not changing poopy diapers. I'm a warrior, like every one of us. And whenever I've gone on TV shows, I'm always like, don't pull me out of the green room, pull me out of the audience. I'm that neighbor that just, I can't sit on the sidelines. I needed to do something. And one thing that I left out, that I know I'm bouncing around a bit. Am I losing anybody, or is this kind of like Vicki or coffee? I think we have Vicki, and like, you might want me to be in your puzzle brain.
There's a lot of information there.
Oh, I'm even lost, and it's my life. But one thing that's important, I forgot to say, what really was a defining moment for me, and this is a long time ago, but there were, if you guys remember, there were 2 10-year-old boys who killed a 2-year-old, dragged him across the railroad tracks in London. And it was horrifying. And they were talking about something like it had to do with, kind of the violent video games they played. And I was just mortified like anybody else who read that. And it was the first time I, wrote to the parents through the magazine. And then there was a boy, that there was an article in the Tribune about a little 11-year-old boy who was so terribly teased for being sensitive, compassionate, worked, volunteered at the VA hospital after school. And the dad went to the principal and said, there's got to be something we can do. And the principal said that there was nothing he could do to help about him being bullied. And the night that they spoke, the little boy committed suicide. Oh. These are horrific things. Now we read about them so much more often. And it's not that we at all care any less, and our heart doesn't break any less, but it's just become, just society and culture and the fabric and our moral being has just shifted so much. So this was something that I needed to do. I loved having my agency. I was working with Fannie Mae and Fannie Farmer candies and, doing pro bono work for seniors, adults, and working for a few brands. And I was a one girl shop. But I just had to do something to make a difference. So this has come so full circle, because by starting in, it's why I love everything I'm seeing in Color Quest, and then the apps you're doing and the programs and Diet Free Life. It's really about empowering moms at their core level and bringing the type of products that I feel and services that moms would make if they could. That was such a standout thing for me when I learned about John, when I learned about you, when I first, my first experience with going on the Stay Healthy site was seeing about your podcast. And I just was so magnetized. It was one of the first areas I dove into, and I'm like, these are real deal people. They're walking their walk, which is so refreshing and so important. Yeah. And how much did I lose you with my story?
Well, there's a lot there, so I'm gonna let these guys. Daniel, can you jump in there?
Well, I've got a couple of things for you, and I've been previous to this in very big public arenas when I tell these two things. Number one, as my affiliation with 14 independent rehabs due to my own sobriety and helping with this terrible opioid epidemic that goes around the country. That has killed over 75,000 kids between the ages of 15 and 25 in this last year. In the last year, more people than the Vietnam War. So what I will tell you, and why this ties in, the only other thing besides drugs or alcohol that has been incorporated into this rehab facility is the treatment of the kids that play those games. And now I'm about to tell you, not Christian, not Jewish, not that they eat ham. The one thing that the top 10, Columbine, Sandy Hook, the Orlando killing, the one thing that they all had in common, they all played Call of Duty in those violent games. They all played the one where they rape the girl and steal the car in Miami. They play all of them. They learn to desensitize themselves and walk into a building and open fire over and over and over and over till what they see when they actually walk into a school and start cutting people down in the hallway is that game. Anything that moves. They don't care. Those games, while we're in this terrible pandemic, are extremely dangerous for your children to be playing. They're violent, and they code something in their deep neurosensors in their brain that allows not everybody, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that play it responsibly and limit the time with their kids. So please don't start sending me your stupid emails that tell me how I'm not reporting accurately. I will tell you one thing. In the top 10, all 10 of them had that in common. There's something to be said about that. They're very dangerous for certain children. And while we sit at home right now, and I know you're going crazy like I am, I have 2 preteens and they use their phone and they have more time. Be really careful how much you let them play those games, the very violent ones, because they are dangerous.
Daniel, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing this. I was talking about this on one of my earlier calls this morning. I remember like yesterday, people saying, Vicki, violence sells. That's, so what? It fueled me. It was a David and Goliath for 9 years. Over 500,000 moms loved and told their friends who told their friends. It was like, to be doing this, It's a type of products that moms and dads want their children. It was about building self-esteem, compassion, empathy. My daughter, who just, by the grace of God, she had a job offer from New York. She's been living in New York for years and came back 2 weeks before the pandemic. So I'm grateful she's back now. She lost her job because, you know, they stopped doing things, but she's had a show that's all about empathy, a children's television show that she had a shopping agreement from the Jim Henson Company that was about compassion, love, kindness. She got a shopping deal when she was 24 years old, and they're a wonderful company. I am determined, like I'm catching my breath now, because now we have a team around. This is our family business, to get this out there. Harvard was looking at doing a curriculum. I would love to talk to you guys about it at the right time. There needs to be those alternatives. And when I was doing this, Daniel, there was no alternatives. People thought I was nuts. I would hear about this one video game store in LA. Don't know the name. They're the biggest. I don't remember the celebrities that were telling me, but so-and-so's kids plays with Duty of Call of Duty. I think it's like, I wiped it out of my mind. And I'm like, what the F is wrong? How can people not know what's going to happen and what's going to be? I've gone on so many shows talking about it after Columbine, after Sandy Hook. It's not. I met with somebody years later. I remember sitting at the Fairmont Miramar, and it was the president of one of those, not the video game companies, but the children's toy companies that was the most violent, said he would never let his kids play with it. Mm-hmm. But how many did they sell?
Well, I will tell you, and Robert will tell you, and you and Barbara have this in common, both being moms. So when I'm called, and often I'll get on an airplane and fly all the way to wherever I have to go and show up in someone's living room, and I interview the family first in preparation to do the intervention. And I turn around and I say, no offense to you, Dad, and no offense to the wife or whatever. I look at the mom and I go, is there something wrong with your son? Because if a mother says she knows something's wrong, no one knows better than that mother that something's wrong. So, and I didn't want to dominate too much of this, but you have an incredible following where you're helping moms, and in many, many ways. As one of the things that I would love to offer to you, there are things that you don't know as a mom that are the signs that your child is struggling with drugs or alcohol, that I'm happy to get together with you after this and put something together for your following, so I can tell them in a tutorial of some kind, here's some of the things that you need to look out for as pre-warnings, so you don't get to a point where you need to call me or call Robert or call one of our friends, Greg or whatever, to come get your kid because he's already, you're carrying Narcan around and they're in bad trouble. So I'm here for you to help you with your moms. I believe in what you're doing. And moreover, Robert is my connection to Stay Healthy. He brought me in because I used Diet Free Life to lose 57 pounds in 5 months. So my belief in Robert and belief in what he does is what's got me here. I mean, he proved it to me because I did what he told me to do, and it was amazing, the results. But now to be on a mission with so many other people that are coming in and that are involved, Barbara's outreach to the people that she touches as a mom and as a successful athlete, and and an advocate for the many things that are in her expertise. So we're a team. So I look forward to all of the different aspects that we can do to try to help your following and work together.
Thank you, beyond words.
Mm-hmm.
This world now needs a team, and I feel that we're like lights and beacons, and as we connect, it's like our souls are saying, there you are. I could sleep a little better, I could breathe a little deeper, knowing. And when it flows so effortlessly, it's the universe conspiring in ways we can't even imagine. And it makes sense of all the steps, even those painful, hard, bloody steps. I know with us, it's like climbing that mountain, and you just become that better athlete every single step of the way. And times I've wondered why certain things have happened, because I've never wavered. I remember when, never wavered. There was never any compromising. When I was doing my children's stuff, I was in my office, and there was a guy who was the largest shareholder of one of those, it was Power Rangers, and says to his attorney, as if I wasn't there, goes, pulls out his checkbook. What amount does she want? All they wanted me to do was have my main character hold a machine gun. And I said, this meeting's over. And at that time, I was returning birthday presents to put food on my table.
Wow.
Wow.
So joy. So let's take a step back, and when you say joy of mom, right? I would really like to understand why that name, why joy of mom.
Sure. And I want to say one thing, and I'll tell you. Beside our 2.5 million friends over that, our reach, any given month, we're between, our lowest has been 40 million to 90 or 120 million, 100% organic. Now that's all our content in a given month of people consuming it. So to be able, it is such a privilege and honor to be able to have this platform for good. It's all about what it's about. So to be able to connect with other folks on, walking this walk and making a difference. This is why I'm doing, you're doing, each of us. And for whatever we've gone through on our journey, to be able to, be warriors and get through it. Why Joy of Mom? That name. I think there's no other, gift, honor, privilege, joy than being a mom, than being a parent. And I feel like when I did what I did before with, again, no tools, no resources, no funding, putting absolutely everything we have into it. And people think, I don't know why I'd always hear, you have a staff of 20, right? Doing your social. It was me entirely for 5 years, 100% me. When the Boston bombing happened, my daughter went to the Boston Conservatory. She was supposed to be where the first bomb went off when it went off. And by divine grace, her roommate, tend to get into the weeds, I'll try not to do that, who lives in Spain, who, by the way, is coronavirus, as does her grandpa, just died from it, her aunts, uncles. She's amazing. And she's, knock on wood, getting better, thank God. But she got a call from somebody in Spain that they happened to be in Cambridge. So they changed where they were going to meet. And I felt that I needed to do something. And I did a song, and it was a video. And I thought if I could just touch one person, and everybody volunteered their time. But I said to my husband, who, by the way, is Joy of Dad. So we can use Joy of Dad too. It's not that big. It's about like almost 400,000. But
oh, that's so funny. You know what I just bought?
What?
While we were sitting here, I just went on GoDaddy and bought Joy of Mod, mom or dad.
Daniel, wait, it's so wild. I look up my daughters. This is like an older vision board.
Yeah,
This is what's going on here. Wow. I just looked up and looked at that. I love that. I have the chills. And by the way, he will be the first one to say, use it. He was in I don't want to say the minor leagues, but getting ready, because I was so nervous, like Joy of Mom, like no one's an admin on there, and so when that happened and I had to be filming at the, to get footage at the race at the Boston Marathon, I said, honey, you've been working on this for 5 years, showtime, it's yours now. So I do the live streams. He does all the content sharing, but that is so wild. And it's so funny because I'm talking, but I felt you like taking a note or doing something. So you went on GoDaddy. Is that awesome? Joy of Mom.
And you can have it and use it in combination. I don't care. I started thinking to myself, oh gosh, I knew you had Joy of Dad. I knew as soon as you said that, I knew you would have it. But I like mom or dad too. We'll combine them. You can have it.
You are so sweet. You guys, we could literally do this together. We could do a takeover, turn that beat around. I mean, Joy of Dad's great. It's just everything's like kind of happening with Joy of Mom. But it is time, and this is what I started to say. And when I keep feeling, you know what, you just have to do it like a mother. And that's and I was talking to John and I was writing it down and somebody was like, let me help. And he left that part out. And I'm like, that is not at John's end, at our end. I'm like, That is the most important part. Standing up for your kids, showing up, anti-bullying. I don't even want to dive into that whole different conversation. And this gives you an idea like of our moms. I just want to share one thing. One of our moms, Courtney Louie, who's from Boston, lived in Aurora, right outside of Denver. Her best friends are through Joy of Mom now. Recently moved to Indiana. We were doing an anti-bullying thing. And I called some brands, I'll leave them nameless, but one was like, it takes like, 3 months before we look at your stuff. And I'm like, kids who are getting, can I swear on this? It won't be an F-bomb.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. Kids are getting the crap.
You're on a roll, kid. Go.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. Cannot
Run
wait.
with it.
I was like, we're fucking doing this ourselves. And she was like, not on my watch. Like, no one's getting bullied. When she was 12, her sister was 16, she'd gotten raped. And I'll call, I'm sure. And they didn't believe in abortion. She ended up having to get one. Didn't tell anybody. You'll know where this is going in 1 second. Told one friend. Got so teased at school, she ultimately committed suicide. And this mom is like, not happening on her watch, on her anything. Her daughter, Emma, who's now in 7th grade, was in 4th grade, got so bullied. And Courtney's got that Boston strong thing. And she was like, talk to the principal, talk to the moms, because she's like, it starts at home. Nobody wanted no one was doing anything. She's homeschooled, she switched schools. Now the girls are all back together, middle school. Her daughter is such a wise soul. And her son, Joey Jr., and the dad, Joey, ended up constructing a buddy bench. So anybody who felt alone could sit on this bench and other kids would join. And our moms wanted the instructions. I was going to say the recipe. That stuff went viral. This is the type of stuff a mom's making up and making a difference. Our moms don't care about $4,000 purses, $400 purses. They care about stepping up, standing up, and showing up every single day. These are warriors on the front line. And for us to be able to come together and to bring the best, truest, trusted, we don't have time for anything less than that. Moms are like spread thin before all this. Now, I think the world's forever changing. And the gratitude to be able, like, once we get through this and everybody is mother up, you know what I mean? Once we get through this, I know that's another URL we should be. Once we get through this, we can't forget. I mean, 9/11, do you guys remember Mavis Staples?
I remember Mavis Staples.
I went in a studio. We were singing till like 3, 4 in the morning with studio singers. About 70 of them showed up. And it was in times like these about making a difference. It was powerful music. And I'd have to share this. If there's any way we can incorporate what the world needs now is Love, Sweet Love, which we all know and love.
Was that Dion?
Well, Jackie DeShannon, it might have been Dion too, years ago. And I forgot if it was.
I think Dionne Warwick made it really famous. Robert knows Dion.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm impressed you remember that, Daniel.
My brain cells are back. I'm sober a long time.
No, right.
I'm surprised you didn't start singing it.
Excuse me one sec. Robbie, can you really quickly send me Shelby's video? Thanks, honey. Just text it to me. I was just going to put one little part in it. I've held it up on like 5 live streams. A student from Boston Conservatory, and we just happened to see it. It's gone viral. She's now doing it worldwide.
Nice.
It's
Jackie DeShannon comes up as the original artist.
Jackie DeShannon.
Okay,
Shelby,
so
send it to my.
So Vicki,
Yeah.
there's I'm enjoying how we've all jumped right into this conversation, but there's a lot of people who are watching this for the first time, hearing about Joy of Mom for the first time, meeting you for the first time. And so I have clarity on Joy of Mom. Okay, as a dad, I get it, the joy. So now I understand the name. I understand the branding. It's not, people trying to have the most expensive purses. It's about people who are just doing the best they possibly can right? Moms and dads, to give their kids the best possible life and opportunity possible, who all come together willing to share, interact, support, help with accountability where it makes sense. And you guys have built this platform, which is amazing. Barbara, as a mom, I'm sure you got some question you want to ask.
Yes.
Vicki. One, there's not a lot of people that you're going to ever meet that have over 1 million likes on Facebook. That's like winning. That's like the Super Bowls.
Yes.
And guys, there's one thing I have to say. I don't know if I mentioned, 100% organic.
Yes.
Amazing.
And that's the power of being having a pure mission and the power of moms.
Yeah, no, and thanks, Barbara. And thank you, Vicki, for sharing all that. And I know, Daniel, your insight that you shared too is all very, very valuable. And just, I'm going to share a little bit with you, Vicki, real short is, so obviously I'm a mom. I spent nearly 20 years in the corporate world. I was in occupational health. I really enjoyed that career, but I resonated with what you said, how you always felt like there was something that you needed to do. You just had this purpose. And I felt that for many years, and I was working. And it wasn't until I'd say after I had my son, who's now 15 now, that I was really feeling it more and more that I had something more to do, something more, I guess, impactful to do. And so 5 years ago, when I did leave my corporate job to go out on my own, which I believe is the best decision that I ever made, but I want to hear from you. I mean, at that time, I thought I had a plan, which now when I look back, I'm like, wow, I've learned so much just in that 5 years. But had I had a network like what you have with Joy of Mom or some of these other platforms that are so helpful in empowering, women, I guess, and people in general, but especially with women when you're a single mom and there's something more for you to do, not quite sure how to do that. What is the key lesson that you learned after this time that you would share with someone who's maybe just embarking on doing something like this, and how would they feel, or what would you share with them to kind of push them along to let them know that they can do this? What would you share?
I'm so glad you asked me that. I love when people do, because I think the greatest thing with experience is what you do with it and the gifts we have and how we share it. Mm-hmm. And what I did with building Joy of Mom in our community, I tuned into my gut. I actually did the opposite. I didn't intentionally do the opposite of what I was told. I was really clear on how to do and what felt true and right for me, which is the only way I can be. And there were some folks along the way that I feel like, it's just our teachable moments, it's lessons that said, from massive companies who were the social people and said, never make it personal. Everything Joy of Mom is personal. It's like my journal, my diary. Only go on once a day. We're on I'll do pop-ins at any time. I used to be in meetings. I don't do this now, but I would have a message that I just knew, and I'd say to somebody, I'm listening, but I'd pop open my computer and make a piece of content. And I'm like, I know somebody needs to, hear this right now, not just me. And there'd be thousands, me, like raising their hand. Vulnerability, I do my live streams. I'm wearing my pajamas. I've bedhead always. I'm grateful I have hair. I probably wear makeup 10 times a year. You can't even tell the difference. It's being genuine and authentic and real, and really tuning in to find your, not to sound trite, but to live your why, not just know your why. I also feel I'm so much about collaboration. And to be able to build, I have been told it's impossible to do what I've done because there's a thing called algorithms.
Right.
And you don't get through them unless you pay. We have not paid. I don't even know how to do Facebook advertising, but people would seek out Joy of Mom. And I felt it was because of authenticity. We felt that it was such a privilege and honor that moms were spending time with me.
Mhm.
And not me, but spending time. It's this power of we. Now, one thing I feel like super compelled to share is we're all talking to people. We need our tribe, our posse. We're stronger together. When Daniel, when you were saying what you did, you gather a small group of people that are committed, that will do what it takes, that don't say no, that figure out a way, that don't try. I couldn't afford try in my vocabulary. I didn't have that luxury. By the way, wait. That's Evie. Again, I'm in my daughter's room. And Mason, the big boy's downstairs. He usually comes up, so he's.
You don't know what big boys are until you start looking.
Oh my God. Who is that baby?
That's 165 pounds. That's 215 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Now, and he's not.
Oh my God. Daniel.
Exhausted.
What a love baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And you guys, after kids, we got to do something about animals. Just saying. My heart, it's like, we need to be the voice for those who don't have voices. So here's what I was going to say, and I have to pull this up, and if it's meant to be, it's going to come up easy. We'll see. So I'm just going to look in the background. Okay. Every day I get brands saying, I'm your number one fan. As big as we are, I know everything that's going on Joy of Mom. I know when people take the time to comment, you know what I mean? And somebody who I've met, you guys know the Special Olympics, right? Mm-hmm. I was helping on their marketing committee for their 50th anniversary. Anywho, you know what? I'm actually about to find it. This is amazing. And so the woman who started it, her name is Ann Burke, and then she brought in Eunice Kennedy Shriver. Mm-hmm. It's too long of a story, but I ended up meeting this woman. Somebody called me, it was her daughter, and said, Vicki, can I connect you with this woman? Her daughter has epilepsy. She's 3 years old. And she wants to build a community. And I don't know any other better community than yours. Could you give her, help, guidance? I said, absolutely. I'm so close to this. I just have to find it. It'll be worth it. Okay. And I'm right here. And and so what happened is the woman called me and said, have you met with her yet? Or have I looked her up yet? I said, I'm meeting with her. I haven't looked her up. I'll of course check out who she is, but you just asked me, I'm happy to meet and help anybody in any way I can. And she said, by the way, her husband's Hamilton. Was New York, Chicago, now back in New York. And then, when the world becomes safe again. Here we go. I found it right now. So what happened, I said to her, to build community in today's world, unless you're paying for play, it makes it virtually impossible. And this is 10 years in the making, and I want to use my community for good. I love collaborating. I love featuring other people's message and mission. And if I can help bring these messages out to the world, that's what this is about. That's what this is for. And it's so much of a higher calling. And what happened is, and I'll just finish this up real quick. And I just want to show you this because it speaks volumes. It was on a Saturday night, Insta stories. I've never sent it to anybody, but I've showed it to a few people. And I know I've got her blessing. I talked to her the other day. But she had, Insta stories, obviously it's only up for 24 hours. And I wanted somebody to see this, and I knew he wouldn't see it by the time he got my message. So can you guys read this? I can read it, but can you read it?
Your company's looking for influencers for your child baby products. Yep.
I'll read it. Yeah. Do your fucking research before soliciting a grieving mother to see if she wants to collaborate. If you loved my feed as much as you said, then you would know that my daughter passed away 2 weeks ago.
Whoa.
Have you ever? But you didn't, did you? So no, I don't want to collab on your formula, baby bag, clothing line, etc., because my baby is gone. And if there's not a moment, I'm not thinking about how much I miss her. I certainly don't need your lazy company to remind me. You want to partner on epilepsy or rare disease research or awareness? I am here for that. But in a couple months after I learn how to breathe through this pain, that should not be fucking happening. Shame on these brands. And the influencers, they've demoralized recommendations. Those aren't my words. That's a word that was asked to be in a study at Northwestern. I said, you don't want me to be in it because I'm not that influencer. Yeah. And they were like, it's all about transaction. We're all about transformation. Her message should not be up for 24 hours. It should be front and center, and will be on Joy of Mom.
Nice.
I love that. Oh, definitely. I definitely love the, you know, your answer and your insight on the authenticity aspect of it. And that's probably one of the, I've learned major lessons, but how being authentic is so powerful. Because I think when a lot of times when people are new to this, they start out and they're looking at people that they may want to emulate, or they think are successful, and they think that they need to do those things, where when you're being authentic, there's nothing more powerful than that.
Nothing more powerful. And this is proof in the pudding. Again, I've done everything wrong. I've kept it as personal can get. I used to have thoughts. I mean, Oprah show's over, but not to get too TMI, but I would picture like being on there and talking about things, because what we go through, you know what I mean? It's these defining moments and what we do with them. And I've talked about my uncle molesting me. It's opened a can of worms. I talk openly about, miscarriage. Our moms, I can't tell you the emails, the letters, the texts, the notes I get about how, they were this close to ending their life. It is being there for the good, the bad, the celebrations, the unthinkable.
Well, remember something. Let's take Manhattan for an example. There's a section called Little Italy. There's a section called Chinatown. There are sections that people migrated to. And when they first got here, because they speak the same language and they're more comfortable and they have the same goals and the same thing, that's what you're doing. You're building a village right now. Mm-hmm. So when you build that village, the natural arc of it will be that people will migrate to the commonality of who lives in that village. So, it is a logical thing for you to go on Ellen and for you to, because it's not just 2 million that are speaking the language you're speaking, sister. We're talking about 200 million moms, and worldwide even more. So, you're building, you've got your first 2 blocks, of the people on it, but there's an entire city, that you need to take a look at, because people are going to migrate to this because they have that commonality in the language that you're talking about.
And it I don't want to say cuts like a knife, it's real. And it's wild. Daniel, when you started talking, I pulled this up. This has been something I've wanted to do for years. Somebody embezzled through us 2 years ago. It wasn't like they embezzled, they raised money.
If this is my Playgirl portfolio, I don't want that going out today.
You are so cute. Can you guys see this? We're launching a mom map. By the way, we're global. Like 80-ish, 85% is domestic, but moms, when I see moms coming saying they're from South Africa, especially South and North Vietnam.
Oh, cool.
So emotional. So my youngest son, who's like an angel, who's been designing, creating, if you've been on Joy of Mom, it's connecting all about interests. So this is the beta. I was like, and he just sent it to me. I've been wanting to do for a long time. So we're matching, instead of on dating, we're matching based on their child's on the spectrum. They can't stand the violent video games. They're about everything, about health, about how we're showing up and standing up every day. And this is about connecting. And I'd love nothing more than that almost being a public service thing. I love nothing more about letting people know. It's like the conversations that we're having. You know what I mean? It's like we're in each other's, living room, daughter's bedroom. I just have to show you the 2 babies here laying on the bed. That's the big boy. And it just, we can make, there's no what's the word? It's not boundaries. What's the word I'm looking for? I forgot. It's like,
Limitations.
what?
There's no limitations.
There's no limitations.
Yeah.
And to be able to use this gift of connection and we're physically, but we're also like emotionally connecting. And I love how you said that. And I so get, and that's one of the many reasons I love New York, by the way, with all those little communities,
Yeah.
those pockets, speaking the same language, the same vibe. It's in your ethos and DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this, circle of good. It's this tapestry of, and there's nothing better than getting through the stuff we've had to get through and those defining moments when you just, it's like the goodness because you've gone through that journey. And do you guys know, I just, again, feel like I have to share this, but this will be a quicker because I know whose thing it's on. I did, it's a famous, got it right here. I sent it to somebody who's, I'm looking, okay. I can never pronounce his name right. Give me one sec. Oop, I'm staring at this. I'm just trying to pull it up. It's a poem. I got it. And once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the storm is really over. But one thing is for certain, when you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what the storm's all about. I can send it to you. Hakuna Murakami. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Mm-hmm. Murakami.
Oh, I love that. Now you're making me cry.
No crying, Barbara. Goals, so we want more people to like Joy of Mom. So
Yes.
that's a good first step, right?
Yes, sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
And helping their friends. And
let's go from 2.5 to 5 million.
Yeah.
This is the first of many, but yeah, totally. The things Daniel, I started when we talked about the video games in 93.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's when I saw when those two kids dragged the little 10-year-olds grabbed the 2-year-old.
To the train tracks. Yeah.
Well, you guys, we have about a good 10 minutes, so let's do a little rapid fire.
Okay.
And rapid fire is when we ask you a question, and then based on that question, you have about 30, no more than 60 seconds to answer. Are you ready for that, Vicki?
I'm ready.
So let's do a round robin. Let's start with Barbara. We'll go to Daniel, then myself, and then we'll recycle that. That works for you guys.
Perfect.
Okay, Barbara, you're on. And then Barbara, you can't take 60 seconds to ask the question.
Okay. All right, question. So, Vicki, what is the top trending mom's issue right now?
Ooh.
Safety and survival and sanity.
Hey, that's good. I get it.
Nice. Oh, look at that. Vicki's ready. Go, Daniel.
Bring it on.
All right.
Vicki, how much does Joy of Mom get into faith?
Great question. It's not about specific religions, but it's about spirituality and faith and all encompassing. And I just wrote about in one of my earlier calls about taking the leap of faith because we were looking for a team to do this and I'm missing some pieces and we weren't ready. And I literally wrote faith and arm in arm with mom. We're doing this.
Cool. Nice.
And we've never been more ready without the normal readies you need. We're just, it's got to be now, meaning our platform.
Nice. Now I know that anyone who's a mom can actually, benefit from being on your site. And I'm sure anyone who's thinking about being a mom would benefit from being on your site. but if you had to narrow it down to a certain age group within 10 years, on average, what's the majority of people or moms that are coming to the page?
I know that.
What's that age group?
Well, this is kind of surprising. On Facebook, you ready for this? I could have you guys guess, but I'll just keeping in the 30-second thing. 25 to 34.
Really?
I'm a little bit older than that.
Me too.
35 to 44. So about 78% are 25 to 44. Then it's 45, 54, 18, 24, but it's moms. Like, two of my pillars where I didn't want moms to say, wish I shoulda, woulda, coulda. And because of my miscarriage, because I was, I had my first child when I was older. And I also wanted to connect stakeholders, moms with their stakeholders and vice versa. So if we want, this is all pre-pandemic, but it's universal, better, cleaner, corporate citizens, transparency, ingredients on labels, I feel like, it's connecting with brands and giving moms a voice because we have a sixth sense about spin and hype, and we can make a difference. And it doesn't get into the business stuff about purchasing power, but we could shut things down like a mother, or we could help things. And to be able to, I don't mean to say raise the bar, boys, but to be able to raise a bar by raising our voices.
Nice. All right, Barbara.
Boom. Okay, so let's see. After 10 years of building your platform, where do you see it going in the next 2 to 3?
Ooh.
Great. Well, I love it. In the next 7-ish days, we're launching we just kind of had a temporary site up there. So we're launching our site, our mom map, our platform. Ultimately, very soon, we're wanting to bring in some really interesting people. Look at this. We want to bring in some strategic partners and investors, and people just see this and all they see is money. And I've kept everybody away who doesn't care about the good we can do and the difference we can make. So we're going to be bringing on, I know it's going to just come right to us, the right people, and build the next phase of this. And we're tackling the most important things for moms, which is all about safety, well-being, security, anti-bullying. This whole thing that's going on with unemployment, we want to be part of the solution. There's so many moms, and I can't tell you, I'm just like a filter, and I could smell it a mile away. It's that mama bear thing.
Yep.
So if having the greatest impact and having a massive, platform to do it on.
Love it. Love it.
All right. D-Money, what's up?
Well, I'm going to do something I don't think I've ever done before. I'm not going to ask a question in closing. I am going to tell the thousands of friends that I have on Facebook and on social media, along with my family members and my other celebrity friends, I'm going to ask you to do something for me. Because I believe that the guest that we have on and the site that she represents and the mission that they're on is very, very, very important. Because I believe that my call to service comes through my personal Savior, Jesus Christ, and it doesn't matter what you believe in and what your spirituality is. I'm going to ask you to share this. I'm going to ask you to share Joy of Mom's site, and I'm going to ask you to go ahead and follow them and join and learn and help us help each other, because you build a village because it takes a village. Look at the situation that we're in right now. Look at the question marks around the globe and an election coming and the direction our country's going and everything else. We need to work together. And here's a site that has millions of moms. We all have a mom, every one of us. So of the vast majority of the people that follow me, I'd say on Facebook, 75 or more % of them are women, and many of them are moms. And I would say, please go to this site and join up and follow, and let's build this allegiance now and work together to try to make this planet a better place. So I'm asking you to share this, and I'm asking you to follow.
All right, well, that was great, Daniel. And
Daniel,
we're all one.
I just have to.
Well said.
I hope you feel what's here. I can't thank you enough. And any and every way that I can help with your mission. So there's one less intervention you need to go to. We need to arm moms. We know better. We do better.
Fergie's going to tell you, go like this. Do you know what that means? In the 1960s, what did that mean?
Peace. Is this do it?
Winston Churchill.
Yep.
Victory against the Allied forces. But back in the days of Braveheart, the French used to capture the English and the Irish and cut their 2 fingers off so they could no longer draw a bow. So when they lined up to fight against the French, they stood there in defiance and put their 2 fingers up and said, I'm in the fight. This means I have both my fingers and I'm going to draw that bow and I'm coming. So guess what, sis? I'm in the fight. I'm with you. I believe in what you're doing and I'm here for you. So I'm in the fight right there. The deuce.
You guys literally cannot thank you enough.
Nice. Well, it's been great. And
yes.
Well, it's interesting as we begin to wrap up. When I first heard the term joy of mom, when I first heard it, I was like, joy of mom, that's really interesting. I liked how many syllables it was, but I quickly went to thinking about Mother Teresa. And if you know much about Mother Teresa, after 33 years of being in Calcutta, she had left after doing all the work that she did and became very famous for. And she was once asked the question, why did you leave? And her answer was, I was not experiencing any more joy. It didn't give her joy anymore. And so for me, whenever I'm talking about diet for life, eat the foods you love, the undertone of all of that is do the things, eat the things, be the person that you find joy with. And so you opened up in the beginning and then everyone kind of added to it that, I'm a mama's boy. So being a mama's boy, mom was everything and is everything. Not that dad isn't, but, joy. I love that. And it's like, people who go through addiction, they lose joy. They're looking for something else. I don't know. Joy is just the right word,
It's
for
a
me,
hot word.
it resonates really well. Yeah.
Like
and it's universal. So thank you for making time for us. This is the first of many, you guys. But we'll do everything we can to let people know about Joy of Mom. Of course, we're supporting and have partnered with you as far as Joy of Mom. And this has been a really cool Stay Healthy experience, by the way.
Love it.
You guys, however, and our moms can get behind and help. And I can't even tell you, it's going to be passionate foot soldiers that are, it's like, whenever I think when I say women who could run or people run a small country, these are PTO moms that are going to step up and show up and are literally not on my watch. What do I do? How can I help? And so it's me and our moms. And I would be more honored than I can say.
All right. Well, connect with Joy of Mom on Facebook, Joy of Mom on Instagram, joyofmom.com. And as we always share with people, and why we do what we do, is our goal is to help people get healthy, be healthy. And as always,
in the fight, Ferg. Get in the fight.
Stay healthy, baby.
Yeah.